You found the Live Local Marketing Podcast, where business owners share their knowledge about what's working in the market today. No fluff, just their experiences and stories from people who are making it happen. And if authentic, practical marketing resonates with you, be sure to visit livelocalwarmmarketing.com and learn to grow your business on warm marketing referrals. Now, on to the show. Welcome. Thanks for joining us for the Live Local Marketing Podcast. Today we're with Virginia. Ma'am, how are we feeling today?
Good. Thank you.
Ready to go, right? So
Yes.
We'll do a little background on Virginia and then get right into the questions. Virginia is the founder of Podcast Abundance, a premium podcast production agency that helps busy business owners turn their podcasts into a powerful marketing tool. With a background in content strategy, podcast SEO, and detailed audio and video editing, Virginia and her team handle everything from the mic, after the mic is off, editing, show notes, social content, and scheduling, so the clients can stay focused on their business. Such an important one right now. So, ma'am, are you ready for the questions?
Yes. Let's go.
Let's do it. You got this. All right. Talk to us about your first win.
Okay. My first win in the business I'm in now. There's a little bit of backstory there, but I was brave enough very early on in the process to attend a conference that was literally for financial professionals who are interested in creating content. Magic that I found that. But at that conference, a pair of financial advisors came up to me, found out I had launched a podcast, and asked me to launch theirs.
Yeah,
like cool. Literally standing in the middle of the conference, just met these ladies, hung out for a couple days, boom.
And so, yeah, that was it. They just hired you on the spot. And so from there, did you have like a background or know what you were going to do next? Did it really catch you off guard, or were you like ready and prepared? Let's do this.
So at that time, my business was focused on coaching personal finances with moms in the situation I had just come out of. And so I had launched my show thinking like, that's what I'm doing. I was not prepared for someone to ask me to produce their show. And the beauty of that was, you get to walk through the conference together, hang out, all that stuff. Yeah. And I told them straight up, like, that sounds amazing, but that is not my plan. I need to come up with pricing. There's going to be some things that we have to work through because I host with a certain company doesn't mean that that's the perfect one for you. Like, there's a lot we got to talk about here. And they were like, yeah, sure. Mm-hmm.
Sure, let's do it.
We trust you. We're going to figure this out. And I'm thinking, like, we've hung out for like 2 days. Like, we don't actually know each other. You know what I mean? Like, we felt close, but I guess just business relationships form fast in person. So that's kind of a little tip for folks. Get to conferences.
I always can tell, like, you can tell in the first like 15 seconds, like if you're going to hit it off or not. You don't know their background and don't know a lot about them, but you can know if you values align, like in the first 10 to 15 seconds. It doesn't take long.
Yeah. And I think that's what it was. Like, we were all moms. We were all kind of seemed the same age. We didn't ask ages, but we seem like the same age. Which, once you get to a certain point, you're like, we're all the same age. It's fine. Like, I don't care.
It's true.
But yeah, I mean, we just hit it off, and it was a really good situation. I've been going to that conference every year ever since.
That is impressive. Do you still have those clients?
Those clients stopped producing their podcast, unfortunately. I think we worked together for about 2 years.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it was quite a while. They had a great run. It was just one of those things of like, they lived across the country from each other. We were doing the virtual recording thing. And this was back in 2019. Okay. So think about like podcasting tools and stuff back then. And the ability to coordinate their schedules was really tough. So it kind of was like, ugh.
So when meeting them, let's talk about the next thing. So when you met with them and you found your pricing and did all that stuff, I'm sure they had some apprehensions regarding like budgeting. They probably had some preconceived notions about how much it was going to cost. So when people come up to you and say, hey, listen, we want to do a podcast with you, how do you have the budget discussion with them?
Yeah. So the conversation now is very different, right?
Okay.
Those prices back then that I even came up with once I got back home were way too cheap, as many entrepreneurs can probably attest to, right? Like, your first set of pricing, you're like, why did I charge $20 for that? Excuse me? Like, no. So now the budgeting conversation, yeah, it is a whole thing. I fully recommend that small business owners look at their entire business budget. The
Mm-hmm.
SBA recommends that you spend 10% or less on your marketing for your business. That's not
Okay.
your podcast budget. That is your marketing
All of it.
budget, right? So from there, you got to do your numbers and you got to communicate that to me to say, like, this is my budget for this. And then we can fit in, okay, great. You can do an audio only show that's every other week. You're a great writer. Awesome. I suggest you do your show notes, but we will clip your reels, right? Or whatever the mix is that we need to design that fits within the budget. And I didn't have all the tools and
Yeah.
knowledge back then to, for one, charge enough, but for two, to have that conversation. So
Yeah.
these days, the budgeting conversation has a lot to do with where's your business at and what do you want? And did you think we were going, full video, or did you want 5 reels a week? Because that's a really tall budget.
Yeah.
That's a tall order. And so a lot of times it's like, okay, well, you'll use AI to clip your reels, but you don't like writing and you're never going to do it. So we're going to do it, whatever. We're going to figure out the right mix.
Gotcha. And even equipment's got to be way different than it was in the beginning, right? I'm
Oh, yeah.
sure of it.
Oh, yeah. Well, these days, you can find a great webcam that, is 1080p or better. You can find a $50 microphone that is great.
Yeah.
You can see my office here. It is not like this sound treated, like perfect room, right?
Yeah.
And the equipment online, the software that we're able to record with, and even if we're processing it after the fact, even that software has improved. So there's
Yeah.
so much more we can do now with the tools that are available that it's cheaper,
Yeah.
it's faster, it's easier depending on what you want to do with AI or without AI. You have a lot of opportunity
Yeah.
and options.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. So, all right. So you said the AI stuff.
Mhm.
Talk to us about some of the best strategies. I don't love the idea of AI coming in and impersonating people and doing
Oh,
things. I think that replaces a lot of the human element. But what are some of the things that you're using AI for? A quick break before we get to that next answer, because I know that answer is going to be brilliant, which is why I chose this moment to interrupt. If you love what you're seeing and you want to run your business off of warm marketing referrals, visit our website, livelocalwarmmarketing.com. It's got valuable resources, office hours, memberships, the book, an array of resources to help you get rid of cold calls, cold leads, door knocking, and run a business you can be proud of through referrals and warm marketing. Now, back to the show.
okay. So I want to second your opinion as far as AI, like repeating and like impersonating you essentially. I did have a client that was super busy that really wanted to do the podcasting thing and wanted to do that. And we worked really hard on his AI voice,
Mm,
trying to get that thing to say like MD, for example, meaning
yeah,
a doctor, not
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Maryland. And to actually say, Dr. So and so when it's written with the MD in it. Like,
Oh,
it was just like
yes.
a
Yes.
beat down. So that's just like
Yeah.
one super minute example, but yeah, I mean, people wanna see your expressions, they wanna hear the reflections in your voice. They can hear whether you're smiling or not, right? And
Yeah.
AI can't do that. So the good pieces of AI, sometimes the clips things like Opus and some
Yep.
that are in Riverside and maybe StreamYard offers some, who knows? They're always adding new features,
They
but
are.
sometimes
Yeah.
those clips are great. And I appreciate how they give them a grade and like rank them, whether you can, it's a viral clip or whatever.
Exactly.
Sometimes those are awesome. I really appreciate the written forms of AI a bit more, where you
Okay.
can feed in like a short transcript or,
Yeah.
hey, your own summary of like, this is what I talked about with this person. Here's how I felt about it. Da, da, da. You have to give it a lot of context.
Yes.
That
Yep.
is the key. And a lot of times you can get some great show notes, some great social media captions, things like that out of it. So I'm leaning much more towards the written help of AI
Got it.
versus the audio video processing of AI.
That makes sense. Are you in the boat of 80-20, 80% AI can write up, 20% you got to write yourself? That seems to be the across the board.
That's that's a really good way to put it. More often than not, I'm giving it multiple prompts of context,
Yeah. Yeah. I struggle
skimming
sometimes.
the results and being like, you change this, tweak that, whatever. And several renditions of prompts, and then even still kind of going through and
Yeah.
editing
Yeah.
the result. It's close. I mean, it gets to know you the more you use it, so that's helpful. The results I'm getting
Yeah.
now are way better than they were a while back, but
Yeah, I'm still finding that the hooks are terrible. It can't write a hook to save its life. It thinks it's
no.
interesting, and you're reading that hook, you're like, "I'm gonna fall asleep reading my own content." So,
Mhm.
yeah, the 80-20, I think hooks has gotta be the number one thing. If you can create an AI that can write hooks, you're
Yeah,
sitting on a gold mine.
then you might have something, because otherwise yeah.
Same old stuff.
Mhm.
So when it comes to the marketing of the podcast, you said you do clips and you do different things. What kind of things are you doing in the cold space regarding the podcast material you help create, and
Mm.
what things are you doing in the warm marketing side?
Yeah. So to me, when I think about podcasting, it does have the option or opportunity to be capturing cold leads out there, right?
Okay.
Millions of listeners, millions of potential people that could be coming into your business. Um, I think it's really important to, like we mentioned earlier, not have the podcast be your only marketing endeavor.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
you wanna
I agree.
combine it with, maybe you can host a webinar every other month. That's what I've been doing lately for my business. And then not just hosting the webinar, but, like, literally paying attention to the registration list and the attendance list, finding these people on LinkedIn, sending them what would be a cold message, except they responded to and, like, registered for your
Yeah, they came with
webinar.
you. Yep.
But just to
Yep.
say, like, "Hey, thanks for registering. I hope you got your questions answered." Um, see if they reply with, like, some question from your webinar.
Yep.
Now that you're
Yep. Good.
connected, they're gonna see your podcasting posts, right? If there is a response to that cold message, hopefully you can continue the conversation and you have a clip from some prior episode that addresses
Yes.
one of their
It's cool.
answers or questions, right? So I want folks to stop looking at the podcast as like this silo marketing thing
Yes. Yep.
alone and realize that marketing is layers, right? Layers of an onion, if you want to put it
To
that
quote
way.
Shrek.
Right. Not one thing attracts your ideal market. There has to be all those touch points, and those touch points can't be just episode after episode after episode. It has to be, they saw you here, they, you know, I don't know, got to present next to you at a conference. They, saw different things going on and realized like, oh, okay, she's like everywhere, or he's doing
Yes,
some of the
all over
same
the
things
place.
I'm doing. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's a great way of putting it. I appreciate that one. That's a good answer. So when you meet these companies and you sit down
Mhm.
with them and you talk about like the different things they can do with their content, video marketing has to be part of it, I assume.
Yeah.
How are you utilizing video marketing and what platforms?
Yeah. So the video space, of course, is YouTube and has been for several years. Recently, and most people don't know this, but Apple Podcast has been able to have
Really?
video podcasts on it for years, years and years and years. We could have been putting video podcasts on
Mhm.
Apple. They didn't publicize it, and the big reason is that most podcast host accounts, like your typical like Buzzsprout, Podbean, Libsyn, all those, they won't let you upload video
Oh
to
yeah.
those. So when you're trying to connect and distribute your show, you can't save your file. So you're forced to save an MP3 versus an MP4. So
Yeah.
there's a few platforms now that have adjusted. You have to buy the higher tier so that you have more data. But you can upload a video, and Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and several of those platforms that we know video is on will accept your video feed. Now, there's the video podcast space is a huge discussion in its own. But what I'm typically talking to clients about is, you know, is the need to be on video truly a need? And what are we going to do with it?
Oh, that's
Right. So,
good.
like, are you actually going to post video episodes on your website? Is this something you're going to be emailing out to people? Are you actually going to post reels? How are you going to use this video versus how you would use audio? Because the video budget is easy, 1,000 or two more per month if you're doing a
Hmm.
weekly show, depending on how long you're going,
Yeah.
right? For us to go in and edit and fix it all up, put your branding on
Got
it,
it.
all that stuff. So if you are facing a tight budget, facing time constraints, you're not really going to utilize the video to the full extent, then start with
Right.
an audio show. We get a
Yeah.
ton of content out of just audio and put your beautiful pictures on there
Hmm.
and share that on social media.
Yeah, because most people are listening while they're like working out or doing stuff because they're not gonna
Mhm,
be able to watch the video all the time anyway. So it really
mhm,
doesn't make that much difference. That's
mhm,
interesting. Okay,
mhm,
that's a great discussion. All right, so when you sit down with them, right? So you talk to them about their video, where they're gonna put it. You got to
mhm.
talk to them about branding too. How do you help them find their story? Because lots of businesses don't know what they should be podcasting about.
Yeah, yeah. We do start with some basic questions around like who's your ideal client? How do you help them? Why do you help them in this way? What's your vision for your business in the future? Just kind of like those basic questions
Yeah,
about like where you've been, who you serve, where you're going, right? And then from there, we start to ask why for each thing. Okay, why is this? Okay, tell me more. What does that mean to you? And we start to pull out. Okay, so you're telling me you're serving this type of client because of this personal experience, because and the conversation can get like because, and we finally get to the meat of and maybe you've heard of, like 7 questions or 7 levels deep, or, there's different,
yeah,
like therapy type things going
yeah,
on
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah,
so, and then from that story, we're looking at like, okay, brand colors. What do these brand colors mean to you? Are you like cemented in on these brand colors? How long have you been in business?
yeah. There's a lot.
A lot to unpack there, but that helps us determine, are we creating a fresh look, a new message, or are we aligning with a long-term business that has already existed, consistent messaging, like what's the inspiration here? Is it new and
Yeah.
exciting, or is it, we have thousands of customers already and we're trying to nurture them and we're sticking with this brand?
That makes sense. That's a great answer. Do you ever come across anybody who you're like, hey, listen, this is not going to work. This is not going to be a podcast. We should adjust this. Do you ever come across anybody like that?
We have, yes. And it, depending on the personalities in the room and things like that, the conversation has to be delicate at times. Um, Sometimes we're suggesting, okay, look, like 5 people in a round table on a podcast, and you're trying to say that, the budget allows us 30 minutes of a recording. I mean, this is just never going to
Never gonna
happen,
happen.
right?
Yeah,
Like,
never gonna happen.
too many people talk too much, um, have never been on a podcast or are not listeners of podcasts, so they don't even know how it
Yeah.
goes, right? And so there's we have to be delicate sometimes, but we're like, "Hey, how about
How about
how about
throw
Joe
slightly
here
good
is
suggestions?
the" right? And
Yeah.
and then we can kind of workshop some ideas and not just be like, "This idea sucks." Like, "This idea is not gonna work." It's so
Pivoting,
much better
adjusting.
to
Yeah.
it's so much better to present some solutions and start to get
Yeah.
them excited, like, "This could be really cool. This could be, do you like this option?" And then the room starts to talk again.
Yes, that's perfect. All right. So before we get to your business and how people get a hold of you, let's talk about data. So most people
Mhm.
use downloads, like that's
Mhm.
their gold standard of if I'm doing well or am I not doing well. So
Right.
when I ask you what useful data is, Is that where your head goes? And what do you usually tell your clients about useful data?
So no, not downloads, not even your followers. I don't even care, what the numbers say about who's listening. My clients are focused on supporting a business with their show. So we are
Got it.
focused on capturing leads. Maybe you have an ebook that you're sharing, or driving folks to a certain video that pulls them into like a free course or something like that. Like there's a lead capture mechanism happening intentionally in the background, and that is what we're looking for. So there are lots of ways that you can track metrics for your show. I have an ROI tracker that has like 50 plus things that you
Really?
could be tracking.
Wow,
And
that's
that
crazy.
includes like backlinks. Every time somebody like you guest
Mm,
on a show, your information is posted on their website, and they are unintentionally or intentionally giving you a backlink because you have guested on their episode, right?
that's
If
cool.
you hired an SEO expert to create backlinks for you, how much money would that be? Right? But instead, guesting on podcasts and having hosts, having guests on your podcast creates all these backlinks. And
Oh,
so
that's
you can
great.
go through those 50 things and you can identify what's important to me. Do I want speaking gigs? Do I want backlinks and SEO? Do I want uh, partners that I've met through having a conversation with them? Like, what is
Yep.
the metric that I really want to track and
Yes.
why? Right? So downloads, but don't matter at all. If you're having conversations and people are signing up for your lead magnet or enrolling in your free course or becoming business partners and giving you referrals, why do we care how many people are listening?
Vanity.
Yeah, yeah,
It's vanity.
that's
Yeah.
it. So I
Yeah.
encourage folks to really think about like the
Yeah.
point of your
Love what
show.
they're doing.
Mhm.
I probably could ask you 75 more questions. I'm fascinated by the podcast space. It's something that's very interesting. And I keep saying it over and over again in my episodes. Like, this has replaced the cup of coffee.
Mhm.
We are really sitting down with people and just, this is our new, and it's just made public. It's a public cup of coffee, basically. And we're meeting people and you're sharing the space and you're sharing content, and your insights are spot on. It's been a wonderful conversation. So let's get to your business and how people can get a hold of you if they have podcast idea they want to run by you.
Yeah, absolutely. So my website is podcastabundance.com. I am on LinkedIn at Virginia Elder. Uh, if Instagram is your favorite, you can find Podcast Abundance over there. If you want the ROI tracker, that is at podcastabundance.com/ROI tracker. And you will end up on my email list because that does that does
Perfect.
work for my business. Just like, I practice what I preach here. Okay.
Everybody's business. That's right. That's wonderful. Excellent. Yeah. Make sure you follow her. I know I am. If I haven't, I should have already got you on LinkedIn, but if not, I'm definitely going to do that. I always do
Yeah.
that with my
Yeah.
guests. So I appreciate your time, your knowledge today. And if you're thinking about doing a podcast, follow her. She'll give the information you need and some tips and insights and an ROI tracker, which will help you get away from the vanity metrics and get to the stuff that actually is going to help your business. So, ma'am, we appreciate your time and your help today.
Yes. Thank you, Billy.